Cool. Come on in, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Today we're gonna do Seven Samurai. This one is a major classic. I don't know it like that. I'm not a fanboy of the material. I mean, well, that's not how I got started with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one was like, "Hey, go watch Seven Samurai," and I'm like, "Hey, that sounds like a good idea." No, this one was something that I go exploring through these vaults, I just access a bunch of files and I go through and I'm doing all sorts of research, and I like to do a lot of research, mostly in foreign cinema. And so this one in particular is from 1954, and like I said, like I've never known anything about any of this stuff, not the people in it, the people shooting it, or the film in general. I have never, my family never grew up watching this stuff neither. So I didn't grow up watching Japanese like films and stuff. Everybody kind of grew up watching Kung Fu, but that shit's like Bruce Lee and stuff, like black and white wars about feudal Japan was not something that we watch, So for me to even have ventured onto this for many years ago would have been very arbitrary. But for me, in the past couple of years, this is the type of exploration that I'm doing in film. Is finding old gems and trying to experience what film was like before digital. And mostly what story is at its core, right? So storytelling is not done this way anymore, but these stories don't exist this way anymore. So feudal Japan does not exist anymore. So, to see these, I love period pieces, any period pieces, so this particular film is called Seven Samurai. There have been many adaptations of the film, post its popularity in 1954, I guess. So this film is about a small village in a feudal time. The village itself has little to few warriors. There are adult men, but they're peasants. They don't fight. And they are happy not to fight, right? So they don't fight, right? They're not warriors. They'll be the first people to tell you, I don't fight. So there's no wool here. Well, what is happening is this village has been scouted by bandits. So in times like this that had so when samurai were out of work, I've seen it in many different ways, but these particular bandits, they're not a good group. So a lot of westerns are like this, where like these banditos, these traveling mobsters, they go from village to village preying on people, so they might have been former soldiers, and I guess in wartime, they may be vital to, whatever specific efforts they would be attached to, which might help villages. However, we're not at a wartime, and these villages are being preyed on by militant type of parties and bands. So this particular village is being preyed upon by at least 40 bandits. So they come annually. So each season they come and they rob these people of all of their rice and barley and shit. And they're tired of it, They're willing to spend a large portion of their stock so that these people cannot rob them next year. So they're going to go and spend money to try to collect warriors to fight for them. So they, in these villages, they have elders who have seen villages be preyed on by bandits many times, you know, and these elders are like, you know, just telling them, you know, let's just wait it out and let's do this, let's do this, let's do that. So there is a lot of conflict arising over this situation, and these people are becoming desperate, and they won't have enough to do both. And they are not intending to do both in the future. So they're sending out these people who are going to try to find them warriors, and these guys are pitiful. The ones that they send are going to like bars and like gambling houses and shit and trying to collect warriors, and they're pitiful. They can barely keep what they have, so they are being pretty much like robbed and stuff here, you know. They're having to spend money to even try to look for warriors and stuff. But as it goes, as we continue, they start to gain. They start to gain some sort of popularity to their cause, right? So they test out a few, and they are not good samurai, so they're not worth what they're spending and stuff. So there is just a lot of back and forth allegations about a lot of this ignorance. So these people are not good, not even at hiring samurai, right? So these peasants, you know, end up making a lot of poor decisions with the money that's supposed to be going toward gaining them warriors, right? So there is a hostage situation in the village while these people are here in the village looking for warriors, and an elder samurai ends this hostage situation without the mother or the child coming to harm. It seems as though it is some man holding a child hostage, potentially. So let me so the elder tricks the whomever is holding the people hostage in the home. So he like knocks on the door. So this has caused a big fuss in this village, and there are people with these cries for help and not able to help, and they're being told to stay back and not to be involved. And the monk says that he is only here to he's a monk, and that he just wants to assist, mostly he sets food out here, and he tells them that he means them no harm. And anyways, I remember the part, and I know he gets in here and kills the dude very quickly and gets the child back to the mom, and everyone's following this man. The entire village is in awe of this. And so yeah, this fucking psycho, this is like kicking the dead body and like stabbing it, and is like other villagers are staying back, knowledgeable to assist in this sort of all, and the shit ton of fans now that he's done this shit. The older samurai has this younger boy who's just like wants to just be like just like him, and this other warrior, you know, who follows him and is like weird and savage, and now these fucking peasants are following him as well. So they feel as though as he's the one for their cause. So they the crazy fucking samurai. So they're all the 5 of these assholes are following this elder just like to the next village or wherever the fuck he's going, you know. And the savage, you know, just like is sizing him up and like, you know, is not respectful like the young kid. So the young kid asks him to take him as his disciple, and you know, the guy is begrudging, but so he does. He lets the disciple come. He doesn't tell anyone not to come, but eventually, he kind of tells the samurai to kind of fuck off a little bit, you know, and takes the disciple with him and keeps him pretty close to him. He ends up at this next place, and the peasants here are. Let me see how they get him into assisting. So I know they go over the plot, but I'm wondering, not that it matters, why he takes on this plot. So because he's taking it for almost little to nothing. I think it's pity. I think he feels sorry for these fools. Let me see. Cool. So he doesn't much like the savage. So the elder asks the savage if he's a samurai, and the guy says he is, and the guy doesn't fucking believe him. And so cool. He keeps the disciple close, and the other one, you know, he doesn't much trust, nor does he bother with him. So, but anywho, he goes into this new hotel, brings the disciple. He bothers them a lot. They don't trust him, but they leave him be, though. Curious man, for sure. And then the fucking peasants. They're so pitiful. They're so pitiful. Begging and shit. And but anyways. Cool. So the party kind of split up. This is why we were in 2 different places at once. So they're in this fucking hotel, and he, you know, they told him the plot, and he's the disciple is the guy says it's not gonna work, and the disciple's like coming up with all these ways with trying to say how it isn't going to work, or how, you know, just like he's very excited about this prospect of being at war. And the guy tells him immediately to fucking calm down. That 2 or 3 samurai are not going to be able to do shit. So himself, the fucking disciple, and well, he has no one else at this point. So he's telling them, as he thoroughly considers this, he is saying that he's wondering what the terrain is like. He's asking, is it passable by horse, and are there mountains? So what he's asking is it open by all sides, or is there a back, or can we put our back to something and then attack from the other side? So what he's saying is that he's figuring out the logistics already. He's saying he needs 4, and then 2 to attack the rear. No matter how frugal he's saying his estimates are, that he needs at least 7 men. But he's saying the old man, these fucking peasants are saying the old man only said to hire 3, which is like, and he's saying that he's not even accepting their offer yet. He's just thinking out loud. So, and what's more, so those that only fight for the hell of it are going to be the only ones that'll fight. He says he's sick of fighting. Age, he supposes. Anywho, they're getting their shit, and it looks like they're leaving. This fucking guy starts crying. Anywho, so let's get to the meat of it. So they get hired, and what happens is there's this test right now. So they allow themselves so what happens is the disciple goes out and prospects the samurai, and he is to bring the samurai into the den, and one of the peasants is going to help, right? So the peasant brings one of the samurai in, and then the disciple's supposed to clonk the samurai on the head with the fucking with the piece of wood, right? So the good samurai don't fall for this shit, not at all, right? So one of them is like, "You're fucking stupid. I'm not going to that fucking den." So, and then the elder announces that he does not mean to offend with this test. That it is merely a test that he needs people of skill. So we get there, and he ends up with some fucking crazy samurai, right? So he ends up with one that he knows already from a prior war, and then the other ones he has no idea who they are, but they're very, very cool people. So this night they spend in the hotel. The savage is there, and he is one of the ones that fails the test. So fucking he gets clonked by this fucking piece of wood, and it pisses him off, and they get a sword away from him or whatever, but he chases the disciple around, and then so they go. So he has 5 samurai. He has 4 samurai, his disciple, and then himself. That's the 7 of them, right? So they go to leave, and this guy does not leave. And they try to chase him away, and he doesn't go away. So he comes, and anywho, getting on into the gist of the story, we've made it to the village, right? So let me get there to the village and let him talk to the fucking elders. So it's not apparent. So yeah, it's not apparent at first, but they need this savage fucker. So the rest of them are very formal, and he is over the top, right? So they fuck with him. They throw rocks at his ass and try to get him to go the fuck away, like for real. But he doesn't. And then whenever they get to the village, he comes in and like. So they come in, they're announced, everybody fucking runs out there, the entire village, and And yeah, the big one just is like he handles the villagers like really, really well. Like, but anyways, they're going over everything that they have, and it hits a very hard spot for the samurai because the armor and the weapons that they started pulling out were taken from samurai. So these villagers have killed samurai before. So it does not sit well with these samurai, and you know, the savage bossing the peasants around and pushing them around and shit, like, kind of evens all of this, you know, idiocy out, you know. So they are immediately caught in a conundrum. You know, why are they here helping these people who don't give a fuck about anybody but themselves? Is what the bottom of that point was made. You know what I'm saying? So, and they know the other side as well. They know what happens to villagers who cannot defend themselves. They know about innocent people being harangued and oppressed. You know, he's a warrior. They all know what oppression means. You know, they go and they kill people for, you know, for their rights and for their privileges and stuff, you know. So they know what it is to have freedoms and to have them be taken, you know. And but as this story progresses, we grow and get to know this one fucking guy is like, he cuts his daughter's hair and everything to try to like his daughter, because if samurai come here and kill everyone, you know what I mean? Like, they're gonna rape his daughter and fucking take her and probably, you know, sell her into prostitution, or, you know, she'll just be their prostitute or whatever, right? Their concubine, claimed as like treasure of war and stuff, right? So the women like that back then would have children with these men, and you know, that would be fucking his wife. You know what I mean? Like, there was nothing that they could do about it. What would a woman like that be able to do against a man who had conquered her and taken her and, you know, knocked her up, and now she has kids with the dude, and you know what I mean? So, this guy tries to hide his daughter, and this fucking kid ends up because all the men here in the peasant village are kind of recruited as warriors. So the samurai disciple is a commander above all of these peasants. So they're trying to whip all these fucking peasants into shape and shit. And this woman disguised as a man fucking, you know, is in the wilderness picking flowers, and the disciples like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we're back over there training. Like, get the fuck back over there and train, you know. Like, and goes to like apprehend him and, and like, you know, whip him or show him, you know, like, anyways, that he means what he's saying, right? So he goes in, they're struggling around, and he notices her boobs. So immediately from that point on, like, the situation is very awkward with them, and you know, they meet later on, and they consummate, and this shit is not kosher. It happens the night before the war, and it's not good. It is very upsetting. It is very upsetting, and both for the peasants and for the samurai. They are able to talk through it, but yeah. So when the war comes, they spend the majority of the year preparing for this war, setting up fortifications, so pikes, formations, working on formations. So they hide they allow some cavalry in, and then they close it off with pikes and kill the ones that come through. And they try to do this shit as many times as possible. So it's kind of like if you would imagine like trapping fish, you know. So there are 40 bandits. They all have horses, and there are however many villagers they are, and there are the samurai as the officers and the commanders. Okay, so he draws literally every soldier he has, all of the villages, all points where the mountains are, and everything. So logistically, he has a map of everything that's gonna fucking happen. What they do is they start to close off certain fields, so they flood the fields, and then they actually fortify some of them as well. So they start to dwindle the areas that they can be attacked by and from. So this sort of and then they're teaching these people where to stab, how to stab, to do it confidently and to not falter. So most of their training is confidence and support of one another and the effort entirely. He lets it be known that if this position is taken, that it will compromise the integrity of their family. Okay, so the women and children are still in this fucking village. Where are they gonna go? You know what I mean? Like, this is the only village that we have. We're trying to defend this, and some of this shit is not even defendable. It's like on the other side of the fucking river. So some of this shit is not gonna be able to even be saved. So he lets them know that shit immediately, and one of the elders lives there and becomes a fucking nuisance and a problem anyways. But anyways, so of course he doesn't want to move and he's stubborn. But anyways, so they come in multiple waves and in multiple areas. Okay, so they're fighting these bandits off for a very, very long time. So some valuable information comes up about the Savage. The Savage ends up being one of the most vital samurai in the entire story, right? So it's so funny because he's so difficult to deal with, and he's such an irate character that he's often he's that guy in the group, right? So he won't go away first off, and then he's the loudest, most obnoxious, and so it's funny. They draw like a banner for themselves, and the 6 of them are very small, and Kokichio is a very large part of the banner. And it's a fucking joke, right? And they call him Lord Kokichio. So he has samurai paperwork, but it's stolen, right? And forged. And the story is he was a peasant, and very much just like this village, his village was raided and conquered. And you know, he has this animosity and this envy, you know, so he wants to. It's so funny. Some of the kills that he gets is fucking crazy, and some of the ones that these other guys get is insane. The film is very powerful. At the end, you feel destitute. We lose. He says we lost too much. Like, this was not worth it, you know? Some of our greatest warriors in this film we lose, and it's very, very heartfelt. We do lose Kokichio and several of the amazing ones. So he is in this film. He's so good. So the actor, you'll get to know him, but I didn't before, and I absolutely love his character. Kokichio's character is one of the most charismatic and most personable characters that I've ever encountered. Like, it's he's an instant classic, you know. So this actor in this part, he's so obnoxious. He's so obnoxious, and he's fucking halfway naked throughout the entire fucking film. So his ass cheeks are hanging out throughout the entire film mostly. But I mean, like, that's just how they fight, is in this fucking toga thing, right? So, you know, watching Zatachi and you know, it's there. He's mostly in a loincloth there, and then, you know, during certain parts, and he goes in, he gets armor and stuff, and oh my goodness. So they don't have guns. They have very few muskets. Okay, so they go in, they get more, and having muskets is kind of like having another samurai or commander. Okay, so they kind of count muskets with officers. You know, it's good to have muskets here. It's very scary. So you only fire once, and, you know, 12 people will fucking run off. You know what I mean? So, but anyways, they win the war. They kill most of the bandits, and I'm thinking, I think the rest just run away. But the disciple does not end up with this girl, and that is how it is. Samurai are samurai, and peasants are peasants, and it's a real fucking hard ending, you know. So, but it's a very long film, and it is very exciting. Cool. Check it out. Let me know what you think.